Alright guys, today we're going to be talking about writing inverse functions. Well, before we start talking about how we can write inverse functions, let's first talk about what an inverse is. And an inverse is simply when you take a function and you replace its y values with its x values, and you replace the x values with its y values. So for example, if we have a function such as this, f of x equals 2x. And we're told we want to find the inverse of this function. Well, very simply, we're just going to replace the x and y values here. Right, so we know that this whole part right here, f of x, is also known as y. Right, so if we were to rewrite this, it would be y equals 2x. Right? And if I want to find the inverse now, I'm going to replace the y with x, and I'm going to replace the x here with y. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So again, we're going to replace the y with x, so x, and then we're going to replace the x with y. Once you have it at this point, you're going to solve for y. So we're going to divide both sides here by 2. Okay, this cancels and we get y equals x over 2. So the inverse of this right here, of 2x, is going to be, we can write it like this, f inverse, okay, is going to be, we have x over 2. Alright, and that's it. And you can actually check your work now. We can make sure that it checks out. So in order to do that, just pick any value for x. So in this case, I don't know, let's just pick, let's try 6 here. Alright, we'll pick 6. So I'm going to choose 6. So for example, if I plug a 6 in right here for x, I'll get 12. So I'll get f of x, so we can write like this, f of 6, right, will equal 12. Right? Well, if I take this 12 now, alright, and I plug it into the inverse, it should equal out what I originally had. So for example, if I take this 12 now and plug it in for x, 12 divided by 2 will be 6, and that's what I originally had put in. It checks out, it undoes itself, right? Undoes itself. So they're inverse of each other, okay? That's one way you can check. Let's try another problem here. All right, so we'll erase this. Let's do another one. Let's try again. F of x equals, and we'll do x over 3 here. All right. Again, we know that this f of x is really y, so we can write y equals x over 3. And then if we're trying to find the inverse here, again, replace the y with x and replace the x with y. So let's go ahead and do that. So now we have x equals y over 3. And now all you want to do is solve for y, so we multiply both sides by 3. And we get y equals 3x. And we can now write this as the inverse. So we write f inverse is going to equal 3x. Okay, and we can check our work now. So let's just pick any random value for x. I'll pick 6 here again. So let's pick 6. Again, if I plug a 6 into this function right here, I'm going to get f of 6, right? Well, this will be 2. If I then take the answer and plug it into the inverse, okay, I should get what I originally plugged in. And we see that 2 times 3 is 6. So it checks out, it undoes itself, right? They are in fact inverse of each other. So again, this is good. Let's try one more problem here. So we can do f of x equals x plus 2 over 3. Okay. Again, let's just rewrite this as y. Y equals x plus 2 3. And now at this point, again, we just need to replace y with x and x with y. So let's do that. So we get x equals y plus 2 over 3. And now let's just solve for y. When we do that, we get y equals, and we'll have x minus 2 over 3. So let's write that as the inverse. We said x minus 2 over 3. Okay. Well, again, you can check your work if you'd like here. So for this problem, I'll pick a real easy one. Let's just plug in negative 2 over 3 here. Alright, if I plug in a negative 2 over 3 in for x, so let's do that. Well, the whole thing will become 0, right? And then if I plug a 0 in, my result, into the inverse, right? Well, it will be negative 2 over 3. Again, what I originally had put in. So it undoes itself, meaning it is in fact correct. It is the inverse. Alright, so that is a basic rundown of writing inverse functions. Okay, and that is it.